Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And in this case, we're talking about leveraging technology through an app to protect your team. That's why we're excited to have with us Dr. Holly and Charles Roselle, co-founders of ForceField Protection. How are you two doing?
We're doing good, doing great. We are just really blessed to be here, very honored to be part of this show. We were looking at some of the content that you have, and it's just such a great it's a great show. So we're really excited to be here.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jeremy, for having us. We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, you two are like a dynamic duo. When you look at your backgrounds, your expertise from the Secret Service, working with the Navy SEALs, I mean, it is absolutely impressive. Let's start with your background because, Holly, on your end, you serve as CEO, Charles, COO. When you talk about the app, which we'll dive into really heavy here in a little bit, it really starts, though, with your background. So give us some of your personal backgrounds, and then we'll talk about the technology.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, Jeremy, I'll start off. So, again, my name is Charles Roselle, and I served 16 years as a Secret Service agent. During that time, I was blessed to protect both President Bush and President Obama. And after 16 wonderful years, I transitioned to the private sector, which means Holly and I started having kids, and I didn't want to be traveling all the time. And I was director of physical security for a biotech company in San Diego. And then in 2019, we relocated back to Nashville, where I was born and raised. And I started my own security consulting business with a focus on physical security assessments, active shooter training, situational awareness training. So it's a little bit about my background. Now, Holly can share some of hers.
Yeah, sure. Just a little bit about me. Prior to this, I was a human performance specialist with the Navy SEALs based out of Coronado, California. And in that role, we were just constantly looking at the performance challenges and the performance demands of the operators, and then coming together as a team to kind of quickly come up with solutions so that they could constantly be performing at their best. And then prior to that, I worked in a similar role with an Army Special Missions unit called Asymmetric Warfare Group, and we supported frontline combat operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, really in the same role. And then prior to that, I worked in the same role at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where it's optimizing performance, but in a rehabilitation environment with the wounded warriors. So prior to that, I was taking coursework and doing dissertations, and I have 2 masters and a PhD in the field of performance psychology, and that leads me to today, where I am the CEO of ForceField Protection, which was not the plan. It's really not the plan. Originally, Charles had started his own company, and like a lot of spouses might be able to relate, I was free labor. And so I was helping him. Helping him with his business until he had met with a particular client that changed things for us. And I'll let him talk a little bit about that.
And I want to mention, Jeremy, I did get 1 degree from Baylor University, but I do not have 2 masters and a PhD. So for all the audience listening, but yes, I was meeting with the client and I was going over how I could do a physical security assessment for their facility and some add-on training for their employees. And he said, Charles, that's great. But he's like, help me with this. 80% of my workforce, they're home healthcare workers. He's like, they're lone workers. They're going into homes by themselves. He asked me, how do we protect them? So I mentioned that to Holly and we talked about it, and it really resonated with us for several reasons. One, we realized that this was a problem not just for this company, but any company that has lone workers, whether it be real estate agents, home health, service techs, anybody going into an unknown environment or a home by themselves. And the second big reason it resonated with us is because we both experienced being lone workers. You can't tell on screen, but Holly's 5'2", and she had to do social service checks when getting one of her master's degrees. And she told me before she was scared to death knocking on these doors, not knowing what was on the other side, not having any protection with her. And when I was in the Secret Service, every now and then we had to go out on basically a welfare check. If somebody made a threat towards one of our protectees, I'd pull in the driveway, I'd call our 24-hour duty desk and say, hey, Jeremy, I'm at this address. I'll be here for 45 minutes. If I don't call back in 45 minutes, please send the cavalry. So we know what it's like to have that feeling about to go into an environment and not being able to really focus on the task at hand. So
Yeah, it's one of those things where, we look at the industry that we primarily work with on the business side is the workforce is called lone workers. And lone workers is a category of workforce, and they are people that go into other people's homes to work. So not like somebody who works from home, but somebody who literally goes into other people's homes. And unfortunately, the assault rate and the violence rate of that workforce is extremely high. It's just a very vulnerable population. I mean, you think about it, what if your, workforce was a different house every day, or going into somebody's house and that's where you worked, and you don't know these people, you don't know what you're getting into, and it can happen anywhere, because a lot of times it's not even the client, it's somebody who's there or who lives there. So
and it could be a high crime area. You could really like your client, but you're in a high crime area.
Yeah, and I think already you're painting the picture. I mean, I can think of so many industries, just like you're talking about, where you're having to go in, and even for nonprofits and volunteers, right, that are going in and doing home deliveries and meals and things like that. Like, I can think of so many ways that this is applicable. Let's go ahead and start diving in, because talk about the technology, talk about the app. It's an app. And so I think when you talk about making it easy, leveraging technology, the geo tracking, like all of this, that's a big piece of this. So go ahead and start diving into how the app works.
The way that it works is, first of all, I will say the whole mission here is to protect and connect these lone workers so they feel safer and they're more productive. Because we've looked at a lot of research, and when you feel unsafe or you feel anxious or you feel scared, just think about it. Common sense. It's really difficult to perform your best when you're feeling that way, regardless of your environment. So that is our mission. It's to make people feel safer and so they can be more productive. And so the way we do that is, we made a very, very user-friendly app. Like, this thing takes 10 seconds to do, because nobody's going to do it. It takes a long time. But before you go into a home, you bring up the app and you put in your location. It kind of geolocates for you. Sometimes you have to tweak it a little bit. And then you put your check-in time, and then you put in the checkout time that you plan to have. And you push set. And once you do that, it kind of starts automating some things. And so, first of all, the emergency contacts that you've chosen, you get two, they will automatically get a message saying where you are and that you've checked in. And they'll also get a little Google map that shows where you are. All right. Then the safety features that are involved, you want to talk about the SOS?
Yeah, there's also an SOS button on the app. So if you press that, that's for immediate assistance. So your contacts, your emergency contacts, will get that elevated verbiage that Jeremy has hit his SOS, he's in immediate need. So you have that. We realize most phones these days have that kind of feature. So that's, one of our secondary features. But where our patent lies is it signals distress without you having to call, text, yell, kick, or scream. So if you miss your checkout time and you're not able to get to your phone, then it'll automatically send out an SMS message to your contacts saying you've missed your checkout. And that's a chance for your contacts to start reaching out to you to see, are you okay?
Yeah. So basically, psychologically, when you're in a home and something starts feeling off, the worst feeling going through your mind is, nobody's going to know. Like, if you need help, you're thinking nobody's going to know because I can't get to my phone, right? Or I don't have an opportunity to push the panic button that ForceField has. But with this app, and this is where we have a patent on this feature, is if I don't check out in time, I know my contacts are going to get a message telling them that I haven't checked out, and they're going to check on me for help. And so it's just such a comforting feeling to know, if I can't get to my phone, if I can't, call anybody, I can't push anything, if my phone's off, the technology still works, that this message is going to go out. And so that's our differentiator for us. Yes, our panic button goes to the 911 call center. That's important. But the differentiator is, and where our patent is this touchless distress feature. And that's really what you need, because I've read research that 80% of the time, if you are in a distress situation, you can't get to your phone. Mm-hmm. So you've got to have a way to signal that without being able to touch anything. And that's what this app can do differently than any other app.
Carry that
Jeremy,
into the benefit for the businesses, because I think obviously, just like you're talking about, the safety for the employee going into the home, but then also too, for the business to know that, okay, I can protect my team, I can have access in real time to what's going on, I think is very, very valuable.
Yeah, so there's several ways that this helps really the ROI. And that's kind of through the productivity piece. Mm-hmm. And that's where my area of expertise comes into play with this, human performance psychology that we looked at. First of all is you will not find anywhere in any research anything more powerful than the increase of productivity and employee engagement when you tell your employees they're valued and when they feel valued. All right. And so what this app, the message that this app is giving, and it's literally written on the app, it says connected, protected, and valued. So when you are investing in your employees, you will see an increase of productivity. So you see that. Second of all is the accountability. So when the business uses this, there is a dashboard that lets them know exactly where the employee is, when they checked in, when they're supposed to check out, if they checked out. And so that's a safety feature. But in terms of productivity, it's just human nature. People are going to be more productive when they know that there is accountability. And this is a supportive accountability. It's not like a type of accountability where, you're micromanaging them. This is a supportive accountability. And so when they're out in the field and there is that dashboard, they're just going to perform better because you know that you've got to be at a certain time and they know when you leave. So there's that. And then the other piece is retention. And again, the number one reason why employees stay at a company is because they feel valued. And when you invest in them, they feel valued. And more specifically, in relationship to this app, when you invest in them and say, I want to protect your life, there's really no more powerful way to tell somebody that you value them than to say you want to protect their life. And that's what the app is doing. So through retention and through productivity, through employee engagement, right, you're going to start seeing a change in really the culture. That's what safety does when you invest in safety. And statistics will show us that there's if you look at the OSHA research, that there can be over 30 to 40% increase in productivity and profits when you invest in a safety culture.
And Jeremy, speaking of OSHA, just the liability side of the business that you were, I think, alluding to earlier, it's that general duty clause and the duty of care for a business. And the general duty clause is very vague. You have to provide a workplace that is free of recognized hazards, but that includes for lone workers. So, the business knows by providing this app to their employees, they are taking steps to mitigate that risk of any recognized hazards, whether it be an angry client, an angry uncle that's in town at this client's house, high crime area, whatever it might be. They are putting measures in place to help protect their employees.
For businesses that say, hey, this sounds exciting, this is amazing, what are the next steps for them? I know that you said it's very easy and you can quickly upload the team and then get to going, but what are the next steps for businesses that want to start taking advantage of this?
Well, what they can do is they can email us info@forcefieldnow.com. It's also on our website, which is forcefieldnow.com. So that's an easy way to get in touch with us. And what we're offering right now for people that are listening to the City Current is a 30-day free trial. And so we can upload a certain amount of employees. They can go try it out in the field for free and kind of see how it works, get used to it, get used to the dashboard. Again, the dashboard is also very user-friendly. And so that just gets them up and going and kind of work through any kinks. And then they can add more employees after that.
And Jeremy, I think it's also important for any City Current listeners that say, wow, that sounds amazing, but I'm not a home health worker. I'm not a service tech. I'm not a real estate agent. We also have a consumer app. So anyone can go to Google Play Store or the Apple Store right now and download it. I know Holly uses it when she goes jogging, hiking, when she's getting into an Uber by herself. So there's so many other verticals that a consumer can use, even if you're not a true lone worker.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that has such wide applicability. Talk about that aspect in terms of, is that on the website? Talk about that a little bit specifically.
Yeah, we have that listed on the website, and it has a QR code. And I don't, I'm not sure if there's any way to distribute that through City Current, but yeah, on the website. And you just go, I mean, you can also look it up, ForceField, on Apple and Google stores. And it's just like any other, you download it and get going. Right now it's $6.99, which is really low. I think at some point that may go up a little bit, but right now it's $6.99. And that gives you unlimited access to it. So like you said, if I'm going for a run, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to check in. Or if I'm like feeling a little uneasy, like my car broke down a couple months ago, I'm like, I'm just going to check in. So he knows where I am. And he knows, like, if I don't check out, come looking. But yeah, there's also a big movement right now with runners. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of violence with runners. And I think that's another huge area where we can help protect particularly women. So we decided further on into the development to go ahead and give this, or have this opportunity available for consumers as well. And they don't get the dashboard with it because they don't need it, but they'll just get the app and they put their contacts in, and then those contacts will get the messages, either the panic, which goes to 911 call center and their contact, or the missed checkout message. And so that's how it works. And we try to avoid some false alarms. There's an alarm that goes off before your checkout. And then there's also, if you miss your checkout, there's a message that goes to the user that just kind of says, hey, you missed your checkout. Are you okay? And so there's a couple different, things in place before it gets to the contact to avoid some false alarms. But once that person misses those, then it will go to their contact, and they'll know that they missed their checkout.
We just wanted to prevent a lot of false checkouts, especially if I'm your emergency contact and you always forget to check out. Then when you actually do need the help, I might just kind of blow it off, So we try to put those measures in place to where if you're receiving this message, it means this user needs help.
Yeah, very smart. And I'm just thinking for so many families and, like you said, the runners, I think there's such a broad, need for that in so many different ways, but definitely with families too. So yeah, I'm excited in terms of what this means for protecting your loved ones, protecting your employees, the psychological safety, like all of that goes into, just like we've been talking about. Wrap up again, because you never can say it enough in the world of media, but website, where do we go to learn more and start taking those next steps?
www.forcefieldnow.com, and that'll get you to our email, which is also info@forcefieldnow.com. We can do a demo and sign you up for a free trial, and that's a nice thing. It's not some laborious process to get it up and going. We really just upload the employees, and we can get them out in the field within a matter of 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And for consumers that are listening and want to and they have their phone, they can just go direct to the Apple or Google Play Store, search ForceField Protection, the app comes up, and get it straight from there.
I love it. That makes it easy. Well, Charles, thank you for all you do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Jeremy.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.